I don't care how much you love what you do, you still have days where you get frustrated or you get impatient. We all have those moments where we are Eeyore. What happens when we get positive support? We become confident, we become energized, we're passionate, we do more of whatever we're doing. Someone's giving us positive support and laughing, I'm going to do more of that.
No one makes magic in business like Disney. Join us as we hear from Disney cast members, influencers, and enthusiasts to uncover the secrets of what it takes behind the scenes to make Disney such a successful and well loved brand. We will hear their journeys, inspirations, and have some good old fashioned Disney fun along the way. So relax, pull up a chair, be our guest, and let's get down to Bippity Boppity Business. Welcome, Joel. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Rita. How are you?
It's funny you ask. I'm doing great, but I am it's just in a season of movement and creativity and busyness, and it's awesome. But it's great to have moments like this where we can just like talk and like kind of pause and everything. Because
Yeah, I'm excited. Let's
yeah,
pause
I'm
and
excited.
talk and see where it goes.
Right, for sure. So for some context, I was really inspired by your philosophy. You have something called the TADA philosophy. And the idea of celebrating small wins is just so important because in business, we can often not take those moments to pause and celebrate the small wins. And what happens? We do the opposite, right? So before we get into all of the questions, I kind of want to use the characters of Winnie the Pooh as like metaphors for the type of people you might find who kind of either do the Tada philosophy really well or are like maybe need some help. So everyone in their office, I feel like, has the cast of the Winnie the Pooh characters. We have Rabbit, we have Mr. Owl, we have Kangaroo, we have Eeyore, we have Pooh, and we have Piglet. I want to start with Eeyore because he's kind of struggling, man. He's the person that shows up every day to the team works with the team. And he's there and he cares, but he is not as happy and chipper as, let's say, Kangaroo, for example, who's like the kid of the group, I guess. So if you have that Eeyore mentality, like what would you tell that person that's going through that time, and how can they maybe access your Tada tool? You can take a moment to explain it to make the first steps towards feeling the wonder in their work.
Yeah, I'm just now just kind of going through my memory of Winnie the Pooh and all the
Yes.
characters. I was hoping you'd pick Let It Go, maybe
Yeah.
Inside Out. I don't know.
I
I thought we were.
I can bring up the cast like in a photo if that's helpful
No,
to you.
I'm just trying to think. Let's go back to. I didn't,
Let's go back to like our toddler years, right?
well, or the kid, right?
Or the kid.
Yeah,
Yeah, the kid in us.
yeah.
Exactly.
Eeyore, he always had the cloud with the rain, and he was
Right.
everything
He was
was glass half empty, and
mhm.
he was always kind of depressed and sad, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, what was the question, Rita? How do we deal?
Okay,
How do
sorry
we deal with the
sorry
Eeyores?
about that. Yeah, well, like in every workplace,
Yeah,
in every and it could be maybe the workplace or a season in your life, for
yeah,
example. Like there are times where you're showing up and you are there and you're a part of the team, you're a part of the group, but there's this like Eeyore feeling,
yeah.
you're having the oh why bother or glass half empty type full, like, how do we get out of that?
I think,
Talk to me about the way you view
yeah,
things and how the mentality can help with
yeah.
that.
First, we need to fire Eeyore. We need to get rid of him.
We need to get rid of Eeyore. Okay.
Take Eeyore out to a pasture, outside the city. Let him go free. He's gonna have
Let him
a great
run
time.
free.
Um, you know, I'm just being honest. We need to hug Eeyore. We need to hug him.
Mm,
Everybody needs that fuel for our passion.
mhm.
I don't care how much you love what you do, you still have days where you get frustrated or you get impatient. We all have those moments where we are Eeyore. We might love
Right.
something, we might be passionate about our job, but we have a day where it's just, something's really frustrating us or something's really getting to us, and we just don't have that fuel for our
Mhm.
passion. And part of that, what you mentioned earlier, that TADA philosophy, and the TADA is just celebrating these moments. TADA is a flourish, right? It's a celebration. When a magician finishes his act, he says, "Ta-da!" When you do something awesome, you say, "Ta-da! I finished," and you see it everywhere. Everybody says it. And when we're little, when my kids were younger, everything we celebrated everything. When they're 3 years old, everything's a celebration. If they're having an Eeyore day, we still celebrate them. And when we do that, it builds their confidence, it creates energy, it fuels their passion. So whether you're an Eeyore or one of the other myriad characters, the next question is, I want you to tell me what character you think I am. And
Okay, that's a good
yeah,
one.
and
I know.
but we have to fuel our we have to have this fuel. We have to
Yes.
celebrate. And as a leader, we have to make sure that we create this positive support for the people around us. For if we're not the leader, but we can't just rely on someone giving us that positive support. We have to create it for ourselves and create that energy and know how important that is to be a great teammate, a great communicator, a great leader, a great innovator. It's all about
Mhm.
creating that energy and being supported and being appreciated.
That's so true. That was a great question you asked me, actually.
Yeah.
What would be the poop character you'd be?
Yeah.
You would be Tigger. And here's why. Tigger celebrates his authenticity and he also encourages and hypes up the group. So when everyone's kind of down, who's the hype man? Who's the wonderful thing about Tiggers is Tiggers are wonderful things, whatever. Like you are the hype man that every organization needs, but you're also an example of someone who's embraced their own personality and used it in a way to build their career and business. So I want to talk about your journey to that. How did embracing who you are and yourself lead to the awesome career that you have now? Because you didn't just write a book one day or say ta-da and people were like, here's $1 million, you said you told me ta-da, right?
Wait, there's someone out there that can give me $1 million? Who's this person?
Maybe.
I can't wait for that phone call.
They could be listening, who
I'm
knows?
excited for that phone call to happen. That's a good question, because even growing up, let's say college, I had these two
Right.
very different personalities. I had this
Mm.
very responsible, career-oriented part of me, and that was getting a journalism degree. And I was going to be a newspaper reporter, and I was interning at these different newspapers, and mostly writing about difficult situations. I did a lot of crime reporting. I would show up when something bad happened and write a story about it. And then the other part of me was the fun and the energy and the humor, and there was this somewhere inside of me of wanting to be a comedian and wanting to make people laugh. And so sometimes they kind of found a way to combine, just in my own personality, and just how I did my job. But in 1991, I lost my job. And so all great origin stories start with I lost my job. All
Yeah.
superheroes, they all start with I lost my job. Or there was an accident with radiation. One of those two things
Oh,
happened.
one of the two.
One of the two. So I lost my job and I had a lot of free time and a severance check. And so what does that say to everyone? That says, let's go do stand-up comedy. And that's what I did. I started doing open mics, and then I actually was having a lot of fun. And then an improv group was having auditions. Improv is a little different than stand up. And so I auditioned and I joined the troupe. We had our own theater in downtown Dallas. And so I found this outlet, and it really kind of ignited my energy and my passion for what I truly loved to do. And so I was kind of following that path. Now, at the same time, I have to eat, Rita. I have to pay rent.
Right.
So I got a job at a PR agency and then an ad agency. So again, back to these two different worlds. I had this PR advertising world and this improv comedy world. And I actually realized the skills that made each successful were quite similar. And
Interesting.
so one of my PR clients said, "We're having this executive retreat. Can you come up, play some of those improv games with us, have some fun?" So they wanted that energy. They wanted me to come be that hype, create that energy, create that fun. And I said, "Sure." And I took another performer with me. There was no plan. There was no great, this is what we're going to do. And we were just having fun and we were playing
Right.
improv games. The audience had fun. I had fun. And that's when the light bulb started flickering. It was just flickering, by the way. It wasn't fully on. It was just like a like an old-timey light bulb where it's just kind of flickering, you know?
It was zaps of
There
potential
was
brain
that,
cell
yes,
activity.
zaps. There was this little, still the room was dark. It wasn't fully lit. It was still dark. And so, I started thinking, well, maybe I could do this for other clients. And at that
Mm,
time, I just thought, oh, small groups, and mostly we're gonna talk about creativity, innovation. And
yes.
you do a great job. You take care of your clients. No matter what you do in life, people will pass your name around. And that's what happened. And then somebody would call me and say, "Hey, we got 200 people. Can you come speak and do that improv thing that you do and talk about teamwork?" And so that's how it happened. And it just one thing led to another, which led to another. And then a few years go by, 1997. This is, people like are listening to this, 1997. How old is this guy?
Ageless, we're
Yeah, this guy
vampires.
is, what are we talking about? This is before the internet? I don't wanna listen to this guy. He's talking about things
Nah,
that happened before the internet. And then I walked into
nah.
a Blockbuster and I rented a video.
Stop it, Joe.
After I
Come
got
on.
that video, I went to Circuit City and I bought a VHS.
Did you go to Radio Shack too?
Went to Radio Shack to get the batteries
Yeah,
and an
yeah.
extension cord. And yeah. And then we went to a restaurant called Chi-Chi's.
Jeez. Did you have to return something from J.C. Penney's after as
I
well?
I did. I had to get some T-shirts.
Yeah, of course.
So so I made this. So in 1997, I said, I'm gonna do a demo video, and it was on VHS, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So the fortune that I spent sending this VHS out, and so once I started doing that, it just kind of exploded, and then by the
Wow.
maybe 99 ish, it just had taken over my business. And using improv to talk about teamwork and leadership, the choices that improv taught me and the choices that we learn by playing improv, having fun and laughing, creating energy, and these choices about how we help each other be successful, how we have to create opportunity for each other, how we have to be open and flexible to change. And so that just started creating this keynote business. And then 2,500 events later, I'm here, Rita, with you on your podcast. It all happened for this moment.
For this exact moment,
This
right? Just to talk
exact,
to me about, like, characters on
yes.
on
I'm
a
so finished.
Winnie the
I thought we were going to talk Inside Out characters.
Pooh.
You gave me the Winnie the Pooh.
Listen, the reason why is because you are literally Tigger, though, okay? Like, in the best way
Oh man,
possible
you had
because,
that ready to go. You
you
got
know
there quick.
but the reason why I actually love your story is because I always joke that people with a theater background always help make corporate better and, like, innovate and bring new eyes to business because what does theater do? Me as a former theater kid, like, theater is telling stories, it's being creative, it's building community, and it's being able to resonate with an audience. You're always thinking about how can we do, say, or act in a way that will evoke emotion or a sense of belonging from the audience, right? And it's also really fun. Like when you've been in that environment, if you're enjoying it, people feed off of that energy. So, how is that any different now from social media or content today? We're trying to do the same thing. It's just a different stage. It's a digital stage now, right? And from your end, the conferences that we have, any business or entrepreneur goes to, that's still a stage. It's just, and some of those stages, like their playwrights really need some improvement because the conferences like they need some love with some of the work. And that's why I think where you come in is so impactful because it is fun. And I think businesses forget that fun may not be quantifiable ROI, but everyone wants to play and be creative. Why do you feel that creativity and play are essential in both personal and professional work.
It's when you play, you're at your true self. And improv was created by an acting teacher in the late 30s, early 40s. Her name was Viola Spolin, and she created improv at NYU to teach her students because she believed if you play, you reduce your stress and you revert to your true self, and that it's easier to learn. It's easier to be open to the message. It's easier to engage with the message. It's easier to retain it. And that was her philosophy. If we play, and improv games is playing, we're playing games to learn, and she used them to teach these concepts. And so, what I want to introduce when I go and present a keynote, first, I want people to laugh. I think there's no better way to spend time with your friends and your colleagues and your team members and your leaders than through laughter and fun. It connects us, it binds us, it builds mutual respect. It is an amazing release of adrenaline and endorphins. All these great things happen if we just laugh. And when I keynote, that's one of the first things that I say is like, if all you get out of this is that you laugh, I'm fine. I'm cool. This is great. I gave you something. But I want to talk about these choices. And when we play, I think our minds are more open. I think we're more relaxed. And I think our creativity is more invigorated. That's a good word. Wasn't expecting to say invigorated today.
Right. You really threw me off
I
with
know.
that one. I liked
I don't even
it.
remember the last time I said invigorated. I'm not gonna lie to you, Rita. It could be years. It literally could have been
Invigorating.
years since invigorated. It didn't just throw out. It just didn't just roll off my tongue.
Well, maybe it's because we're having
We
fun
are having
and it
fun.
was an openness to being creative that something like that
Yeah,
came out. It's literally proof in the
it
pudding here.
is. It energizes us. When we're having fun, when we're laughing, it energizes us. Think about when you are your most creative. Usually you're relaxed. People say, well, I get ideas when I'm in the shower or before I go to bed or when I'm walking the dog. What do all these things have in common? Is that you're relaxed. You're not thinking about anything in particular. And so your mind knows what you need, and your mind still is working, but it's working in a relaxed state. And then you take away some of the fears and some of the frustrations, and you take away some of the negativity, and the mind can work. And then that creativity happens, and you have a great idea. And that's why play is so important to us because it relaxes us, it gives us that relaxed state, and then great things happen. Whether we're talking about communication or innovation or leadership or teamwork, it's so important. And I have my brand new book, and there's a whole chapter about fun being a choice and how important that choice is. Fun means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And so to me, fun it's inclusive. It's about, creating this community of joy for the people around us. And so fun is about being fulfilled and rewarded. And it's important for us to have fun because it energizes us and it makes us better in everything that we do. And so it's a choice. And a lot of companies say, well, we're very serious around here. And all these myths that take away from the fun, like we're a serious company, so we can't have fun, or fun wastes time, or we can't. It will fun is offensive, and none of those things are true. They're all myths, and I talk about all of those myths in my book. Make the right choice. Boop, beep, boop, boop.
Yes, I love that. That's really important. You have to make the right choice to, I don't know, if you had to choose who you would want to be most likely to be friends with and build a relationship with, would it be the person who's super serious all the time, or would it be the person that shows their personality and that you have fun with?
Right.
Just a thought,
Right,
right?
but a
So,
serious person can have fun too. You
correct.
think about math class. I'm terrible at
Okay.
math, Rita. Okay,
Me
so
too.
think about
So we're gonna really struggle through this
I'm gonna
analogy, but we're
yeah,
gonna go
I don't
for
know
it.
what I'm saying. So think about math. And so my daughter's really good. She's really good at math. And so when she solved a calculus problem, she had fun. That was fun for her because she solved a problem. And so it's not fun for me. It's painful. It's probably painful for you too, Rita. It's like it's awful. It would be like hell is going to be me in a calculus class just trying to figure
Yes.
out problems for
Yes.
eternity. And so I just gave an idea. And so but you can be serious and still have fun, but we need to think about what that fun means for each of us individually.
That's true because, like you said, some people might think when you say, oh, this project will be fun or, this or that or the other, especially with content, sometimes content, uh, ideas that I provide, like somebody could say, oh, well, we're not trying to make fun of people. We're not trying to, like, this isn't a joke. I'm like, no, it doesn't have to be a joke. There's a balance to education and entertainment. So when you do your presentations, from my understanding, you combine a little bit of the two. How do you kind of go about that when you're doing your signature keynote?
So everybody wants to play. I don't care what audience. In fact, right after this, I have a conference call with a client, and they sent me an email like, I don't know if some of my people are going to do the things that are on your video. And so now I got to have a call to say that they will, because I've done 2,500 events, and believe me, those weren't all fun companies. And so every group and I've spoken to IT, accounting, uh, the Army, IRS, government workers, healthcare workers, education, construction workers, you name it, I've spoken to them. And some groups you've never heard of, I've spoken to them. And we all want to play, we all want to have fun. So I just create the opportunity. I just create the energy. And so I give them the opportunity. Maybe sometimes it's a group exercise. Sometimes I bring some people up to the stage and we do an improv game. And then I match that opportunity with some positive support, right? Not just from me, but the audience gives that positive support, laughter and applause. And what happens when we get positive support? We become confident, we become energized, we're passionate, we do more of whatever we're doing. Someone's giving us positive support and laughing, I'm going to do more of that. I want more,
Yes.
right? And so, and I give the opportunity, create the positive support. And so by having fun, we're playing, we're laughing. Then what happens is I want to talk about the choices that those audience volunteers made during the game, because that's my visual storyboard. That's how I tell my story, is watching the audience volunteers play the improv game. And so we're laughing, we're being entertained. Now I'm going to say, here's why they made those choices. And here's those how important those choices are when you go back to your work and you're working with your team and you're trying to overcome challenges and reach your goals. It's the same concepts. And I'm just showing you visually through the improv. So we're laughing, having fun, but then at the same time, we're going to learn.
I I really do try to push this concept of
Mhm.
edutainment, especially because for me, that's kind of what Disney does really well. Like whenever they try to teach, especially some of the OG stuff back in the 90s. I remember those like sing-along VHSs and
Yeah.
stuff or whatever. I really love the ability to learn through story or learn through entertainment because I think it's memorable and it's legendary and it's how really stories how we've learned as a human species for like years, right? Like that's kind of how we retain information. It was through oral tradition passing that down from one person to another, and I don't think that people are remembering that as much in their day to day. They're kind of like, you kind of forget it. Honestly, what do you think about that?
I think you're absolutely right. I think, especially today's audiences, and as the generations move up into the workforce, where they've been entertained their whole life. All of education was, if they're not in class, they're looking at a screen. There's no moment of boredom. They're constantly wanting entertainment, and they want their teachers to entertain them. They want everything to be entertaining. And so, as they move more in, as there's more of them in the workforce, you can't just go up there and have a conference and have people just drone on with PowerPoint presentations with upside down triangles and interlocking circles. It's just people aren't they're not going to relate or react to that, and so there has to be um, some of that entertainment, some of that fun, and it's important. If we get everybody together and we spend all this money to have a conference and bring everybody together, what are some of the things that we can only do when we're in a room together? And that is to be entertained. That is to laugh together in one room and hear everybody laughing and having that common moment that they talk about all day. Oh, I can't believe Bob got up on stage and twirled around like a ballerina. He was doing an improv game and he was being a ballerina. Or John, the VP of accounting, was Joel made him be a bull rider. That was hilarious. And then they're going to talk about it at dinner. And we can only do that if we're together. And that's how important it is. And then when we're being entertained, when we're having fun, I think we're more open to the message. And I think we relate to the message more. And more importantly, we retain the message. And so what's happening is when I bring some audience volunteers on stage, I can only bring so many on stage, but the rest of the audience is going to participate vicariously through that person. That's their friend, colleague, mentor, boss, manager, whatever. So they have a vested interest. They want to see what happens. And so when they are engaged like that, of course, they're going to remember the message more because they're connected to it. And then they have this awesome memory, right, of laughter, of this unique memory of Bob being a bull rider or being a ballerina. They have this amazing memory. And then what are we going to connect that memory with? The message of staying in the game, or being more present in the moment, or being more open and flexible to change, or how important it is to help the people around us be successful.
And then a byproduct of that is they're going to maybe hopefully remember you because you created that experience for them. And then a tertiary thing of that as well is they remember the conference, hopefully,
Yeah,
too. So then maybe they're more likely to, I don't know, go back
right.
the next time it happens.
Sure.
So it's a trifecta of a win-win for all involved. And it's actually interesting because, I'm exploring with this idea of like, how do we make podcasts more immersive for businesses, right? And if you create a true show, one that works online but also one that could be, I don't know, interesting enough to be picked up by a conference, now you have a continuation of that. And the reason why I thought about it is, okay, I'm the Disney nerd, right? But like immersive experiences are really what surround you, and like you said, like become memorable, not just for like a day, but a core memory. Like if you could create a core memory for your potential client where you only did one thing one time and they remember you for the rest of their life, that's cheaper than any Google ad campaign that you could spend money on.
Yeah. I mean, Disney is, famous for having these moments, these magical moments that you create these memories, whether in the parks or at the movie, whatever. We have these memories associated with taking our children to this movie or taking our children to the park. And we have these incredible memories and moments. And so we feel that. And so when you are on stage, when I'm on stage and I'm making somebody laugh and I'm entertaining them and I'm creating that memory, I'm hoping that I create something special that they remember. It doesn't always happen. I hope it happens, but if you make somebody laugh, that's, I think, a gift. And when we laugh, the endorphins are released and we feel great, and it makes us feel great. And maybe we forget about some of our stress or struggles for a moment. And if I can give that gift, that's a pretty awesome thing. And I'm very lucky because I have a job where I get a round of applause. That's pretty awesome.
Oh, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
People think, I mean, I tell people, I go, think about that. I do my job, I get a round of applause. That's pretty awesome. Most people don't get a round of applause. They deserve it,
or even
right?
or even a thank
Or even
you.
a thank you. You're right. And
Right.
I talk about that. And actually, recently, I've been doing this thing in my keynotes where I talk about that. I get this round of applause. Most people don't have a job where you get a round of applause. And I ask somebody in the front row what their job is, and they say distribution manager. And I say, has anyone gone in your office and said, the way that you manage the distribution? I would say probably not. But you deserve it, because if things aren't distributed, the company fails, everybody loses their job, customers don't get what they are supposed to receive. It's a big deal. And so I usually have that person stand up and have the whole audience give them a round of applause, and they get this big,
That's so
I know, they get this
sweet.
huge smile on their face. I just started it was kind of one of those things that just happened one day, and I'm like, gosh, that's great. And so now I've been experimenting with it and doing more of it. My keynotes are always evolving, and I like to play too. And when you play, all of a sudden some creativity happens and something great happens, something magical will happen. And so I've been playing with that, and it's just awesome. They wave, and everybody's like, you know, it's awesome. And it,
They get to have their hi mom moment, like their 15 minutes of like,
yeah,
"Oh my god, hi
yeah.
mom." It's so
And
beautiful.
it's really telling everybody, look, give the people around you a round of applause. Give them that positive support. Just because it's a job that you traditionally don't give them a round of applause
Mhm.
doesn't mean they don't deserve it. And they should. They should receive that applause, that positive support, because remember, it fuels us. It's important.
And that's why I think I want you to really dive into the TADA concept that you talk about, because if you're not getting that external applause, you have to be the person to do that for yourself, right? And like I would just dive into the philosophy like you're like Aristotle or something, like dig into the concept of TADA. Like
It's
I want to hear all about
It's
it.
really that celebration. We talked about it a little bit earlier, that ta-da moment, right? And think about, when my kids are older now, but when they were little, everything was a ta-da. They eat a cheese sandwich, we're like, ta-da, you ate the sandwich. If my son touched the ball, we're like, yay, ta-da, you threw the ball. And every parent across this world says that. Now, they might not say the words ta-da, but whatever ta-da is in their language, they say. And because I've spoken to international audiences, and we've talked about this. And so it's that celebration. And when we celebrate those children, they build confidence. They get a big smile on their face. They're like, "Oh, what did I do? I don't know." But my parent is very happy about it. And so they do more of that. And then as we grow older, we still have these moments, but we don't celebrate them anymore. We just think that's part of life. This is what we're supposed to do. And okay, I'm getting it done. I'm checking things off my to-do list. I'm doing my job, but nobody's celebrating that. And if that's a huge part of our fuel for our passion, a huge part of what we need for energy to continue, and we're forgetting to do that, where are we going to get that energy? Where are we going to get that fuel? So that ta-da is about celebrating. And it's important not to wait once a year where we have an awards program and then we celebrate. We do great things every single day for our customers, for our team, for our partners, for the people around us. And we need to celebrate each other. We need to appreciate them and give each other that positive support. And I said, here's the challenge that I give my audiences. When you go home from work, think about all the people that you had contact with. Did you give the people that deserved it that positive support? Did you say thank you and I appreciate you and you did a great job and awesome? You said, oh man, I was so busy. So we're thinking about it on the way home. So tomorrow, let's give that person that appreciation. Let's give them that to-da moment. And I don't care if you send them a text or you email them or you call them up or you see them in the hall. We need to celebrate them. And there's no expiration date on that thank you. Nobody's gotten a thank you and like, well, it was late. I can't believe you. It was late. No, it makes you feel great. So that's the challenge, to give that appreciation. Think about it on the way home. Tomorrow, give that positive support. And when you throw it out there, guess what's going to happen? It's going to come back. Who do we who do we thank? We tend to thank the people that have helped and thanked us.
Right. I actually started doing it for myself because ever since I started, talking about it and like we're kind of emailing back and forth, because I tend to forget the accomplishments throughout the day. Like I tend to focus on the negative of the day. I've been a little bit of an ER myself. I'm not going to
Yeah.
lie. Right. So rather than, because I saw like you would send me an email and then it would say like, ta-da at the end of it. Right. And I started doing it mentally to myself where every small thing that I do, if I've had a rough day, in particular, I'll be like, all right, I did it. Ta-da! Like
Yeah.
I'll awkward just do it for myself. But then it like excites me because then I'm like, yeah, you know what? One small step every day is a step towards progress, no matter how big
Right.
you took that step forward.
Yeah. I end my emails with ta-da. And then sometimes every once in a while, I'll pop out an email real quick and I'm like, oh, I forgot to say ta-da.
Have you
I
ever
just
had an
said,
awkward moment where it was like kind of not a great email to send and it ends with
yeah,
like,
I know.
ta-da!
Yeah, no, the end of customer service. By the way, yeah, because I had to send an email recently about a certain TV company that I'm not going to mention.
not gonna bring
but
up.
it starts with Sony. And
Yeah.
so they're the
Oh boy.
ones that messed up, not me.
Oh,
And
oh boy.
so, yeah, they lost a customer, Rita.
Oh
I'm
boy.
officially
Well, yeah.
announcing that on your podcast. Ladies and
Oh
gentlemen,
boy.
I'd like to make an announcement
Oh boy.
on Rita's podcast. I
Jesus.
was a loyal customer of Sony. I have many Sony products throughout my house. There's a problem with one of my TVs that I bought a few years ago. They refuse to fix it. They say it's out of warranty. And I have said to them, you have lost a customer. So I'm making that announcement on Rita's Bippity Boppity Business podcast.
So you were like, "You've lost a customer," and then it was like,
Yeah, there was
"Ta-da!"
no ta-da at the end of that email.
Okay, because I could just
There was
imagine
no
that is
ta-da! I'm headed to Samsung.
I just thought it'd be really awkward if, like, you forget that that's auto-generated, like, that could be so bad.
Yeah.
For me, it could come up I almost wanted to, end my emails with "Have a magical day," but how bad would it be if I sent out an email snarky, like, "We can't do that for you," and then it ends with "Have a magical day" at the end of it or something,
Yeah.
and I, like, forgot to update the
Yeah.
signature,
No,
that'd
yeah.
be so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. But sometimes I need to put the ta-da and I just say thanks. I go, thanks, Joel. And I'm like, God, I forgot to put ta-da. That's what I'm known for.
But it's smart from a personal branding perspective too, because you have a word now that's associated with yourself. So, do you have any tips for like growing as you've grown your business, like things that you've done for yourself to help you,
Yeah.
make your keynote known and like come up with these types of terms so people can, you know, associate them with you, just from a business side, I'm really interested.
Well, I did get an email recently and I actually has a connection on LinkedIn and we were sending back a couple notes, and he sent me a note and he said, and what is ta-da? And I'm like, I guess I gotta explain ta-da. And I guess everybody spells ta-da differently too, and that might mess people up too. They go, and maybe they look at it and they go, tay-day, tay-day, tay-day. I
So,
would
the
think,
first time I saw it, I read it like that. That's why I didn't know what it was at first. I read it like I don't know how it's there's no way to really spell it, but I read it completely wrong. But granted, math and reading weren't really my
okay.
highest marks at school. So,
Sometimes I see ta-da with an H, ta-da. Sometimes I see it D-U-H. But so I made the executive decision that my ta-da is T-A-D-A.
yeah,
Ta-da. And so I think I think people will figure it out. Uh,
I'll figure it out.
yeah, it's figured out. You know, um, the question about building the business, and it's just you have to do something every day. You have to take a step every day. And I think sometimes when somebody is starting a business or starting a something they want to accomplish, a goal, they see it as it's overwhelming. They see it as it's too much. And if you just take that first step and do a little something every day, and then you look back and see what you've accomplished in the past week, or look back and see what you've accomplished in the past month. And then it's just moving forward and taking that step. And it's really about loving what you do and enjoying every moment, appreciating every moment. And when I'm presenting and I'm speaking with a client, it's awesome. There's no better place for me. And I tell people all the time, my clients, I said, the time I'm on stage is free. I'm not even charging you for that. That's how much I love it. And if you love something like that, then you're going to put the energy and you're going to put the effort into it. And it's going to come back to you. People are going to refer you, or people are going to hire you again. And you take care of people, then they'll take care of you. But the time I'm on stage I love that. It's free. I would do that for free. When I first started my career, I did it for free. Now, what you pay for is for me to be away from my family, to travel next to the guy sitting next to me on the airplane that's clipping his nails. That was recently, by the way. And
Ew.
yeah, yeah, or taking their shoes off or smell. I could just keep on going, right?
We gotta find you that $1,000,000 client so you can do the first class
Yeah,
next time, yeah?
yeah, for sure. It happens in first class too. Don't think it doesn't. And
Oh, snap, really?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, for sure.
what?
And so, yeah, that's what I charge for. To conference calls and accounting and invoicing and
Emotional reparation from the
emotional,
guy from
yeah,
the
all that.
emotional
You get sick
damages.
because you get, that's what I charge for. I came back from an event in December. I had pneumonia. That's what I'm charging you because you gave me pneumonia. That's what I'm not. The time on stage was free. The pneumonia cost.
How did you get people start picking you up? I know you mentioned, like, at the time, like, you sent in some VHS tapes, but what are you doing now to get people to pick you up for your presentations? Like, do you have kind of a LinkedIn strategy, or you just, have a really great networking and referral network, or do you post a lot of stuff on LinkedIn? Just like something little tactical so somebody can go, okay, well, Joel tried this, and I guess I could try it too,
If
maybe.
Joel, if Joel can work, I can work. Oh my god! If Joel can get somebody to hire him to speak, well then, of course someone's going to hire me.
Oh, come on, you're a fantastic
Uh,
speaker.
Joel did it. You know, I do a lot. First of all, anytime you speak, that's the best way to build. The more you speak, the more you're going to build your business because you're speaking to this huge audience, and all those people know somebody, and hopefully they can refer you. If they don't have the ability to hire you as a speaker, maybe they know somebody, and that happens all the time. But I do. My social media is really focused on LinkedIn. Putting That's where I post the most as far as, and I do different things, the events that I've spoken at, talking about some of the messages, talking about the book, media interviews, articles that I've written. So it varies. I think you have to vary what you post. And I think, just being available for podcasts and interviews. I think that's a big part of putting yourself out there and putting the content out there. But I think it's really just doing something every day, whether it's sending an email, whether it's posting on LinkedIn, whether it's booking an interview for a podcast. It's always moving forward to do something. Never you're planting these seeds, and that you hope that you're going to be able to grow something. And not every seed's going to grow into something that you're going to harvest. Some of those seeds are not going to go anywhere. Um, you know,
You planted a shoe by
I did.
accident
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. Sometimes they ghost you.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you're like,
you never
I
know.
thought we had a good conversation, but okay. Um, and so, I think it's, if you love something, you're passionate about it. It's not work. It's something that you believe in, and something that you're energized by, and you keep working toward and doing something each and every day to move forward. And when you do that, you're going to um, reap some of that harvest. You're going to receive.
I like that. When you're energized by something, you will almost on autopilot do it,
Right.
right? Like, if yeah, you won't really have to. And there's moments where you kind of have to, like, pull yourself out of bed and go, okay, like, we're gonna try one thing today and then celebrate that one thing. But that's really the it's the long
Yeah.
game. It's the
And
journey,
not every idea works.
right?
Not everything that you do and you put out there is going to work, but you have to keep trying different things. And also it's good to associate with other, like, I know other speakers, and you talk and you say, well, what are you doing? And I don't know if that would work for me, but maybe I'll try that idea, or, and actually I think this is a perfect example. I think I saw a friend of mine on your podcast. You
Yes,
you
Brian.
interviewed Brian Bureau, and good friend, great speaker. And that's how I discovered you. And so it's the network and the connections and paying attention to what other people are doing, and just putting your one foot in front of the other. I think that's a Disney song.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Why I don't know why my brain went to Whistle While You Work. That's, like, definitely not the same song, but that's where my brain went for some reason. Okay, well, that's a really great transition because now we're just gonna get into the Bippity Boppity. I'm just gonna ask you, like, a couple
Let's do
questions,
it.
Disney
This is
Disney
what I
themes.
thought the whole hour was going to be, and then
I know.
you made me talk about all my messages in my book.
Well, I kinda helped you promote your book,
Yeah.
no big deals.
Hi. This is my book, Make the Right Choice, Lead with Passion, Elevate Your Team, and Unleash the Fun at Work. And we talk all about my messages, about teamwork and great communication, and how we find success during change and disruption, and the importance of fun at work in all packed in this book. And each chapter has lots of ideas to bring the fun and energy to work. This should be your holiday Christmas present to everybody you know. You may purchase it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or wherever you buy your book.
Ta-da! Wait, now you have that clip for yourself. I'll
Yeah.
send it to you later so you
The
can use
part
it.
where I was like, what was the second part of the
Yeah,
subhead?
what was my book called again? Okay, so if you could go to any Disney park in the world, which one would it be and why?
Well, I've been to Disney World and Disneyland. I would say we'd go back. It's been a while since we've been to Disney World. So my family and I, we have lots of great memories at Disney World. And we say every park, you're talking, I have not done the Star Wars. Um,
Ooh,
yeah, and so I
The
think
Rise
that
of
would,
the Resistance.
yeah, I think that would be our number one visit. My wife and daughter did those rides at Disneyland on a girls' trip a year ago, but I have not done it. So that would probably be my number one. That's probably the number one thing I'm
Um,
looking forward to the next time I visit the park.
it's an amazing ride. Highly recommend. Stay at a resort so you can go an hour early and you can actually get on the ride because once the park opens, it's
Yeah,
really hard to get
yeah,
get on
yeah.
it. Okay, if you could, hang out with any Disney character for a day, which one would it be and why?
Can we count? We can actually, it could be Marvel too because Disney owns Marvel
Correct,
and Star Wars.
correct. Whatever they own,
Wow, that's a big one. That's a big one. That's a
it's
big one.
important.
I know.
These are the
So
details that
a
matter.
lot of ideas there. God, I mean, there's so many. I would love to hang out with Captain America. I'd love to hang out with Deadpool.
That
I'd love to in Star Wars. Come on, can I hang out with Luke Skywalker? Can I have Obi-Wan? I want to hang out with Obi-Wan. Uh,
Yeah.
Andor, he's kind of cranky. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think it'd be awesome to hang out with, the Marvel characters, like, if you were just, like, the accidental Avenger or something, like, you just, like, popped in for a day. It's like all the Avengers and then Joel.
Yeah, yeah, I would. Yeah, well,
That's
Deadpool's
funny.
really funny, so
Yeah, I think you guys would actually probably
I think
vibe.
we would vibe. I think we would cause
Yeah.
um, a lot of pain, probably. Uh, yeah, there'd be a lot of destruction around us.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
But yeah, so I would say Captain America or Deadpool would be for Marvel. So I'm making my own categories. For Star Wars, I would say Obi-Wan or Luke.
Okay. And if you could, I don't know if you've been to any of the parks and have, like, a favorite food or snack, but if you could have one Uber Eats delivered to you tomorrow, what would that be?
Hmm.
For me, I love Mickey pretzels and Dole Whip. I, like, talked about this on, like, 6 episodes.
Okay.
Maybe they'll send me
Yeah.
maybe they'll send me some free ones one day, we'll see.
Yeah. That's a good question too. What is like a really specific food that anything just I just anything that I could from Epcot, anything that I could just walk around
Oof.
the world and just get a little if I could just DoorDash, like bring me something from each country.
From each category, from, like,
Yeah,
Italy and all the yeah,
yeah,
that's
that'd
awesome.
be great. I would do that. That would be fun. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well,
They have tastings.
that
Don't they have like I don't think I've ever done the world of like a tasting thing around.
ooh, you should do it.
Yeah.
It's really good. Like, the Food and Wine Festival is
Yeah,
really
food one. I don't
nice.
think we've done the
Mhm.
food one. I have done I mean, where we've tried to eat something around
Yes.
the world. Um, but I remember actually went going my first time at Epcot was right after it opened. Yeah,
Ooh, tell me a little bit about
that
that.
was so that I graduated high school in 1986, and so I believe it opened did it open in '85? I think it opened in 85.
We're gonna
Yeah,
pretend.
it's either I'm almost positive it's like 84 or 85 that it opened. And so 86, we graduated high school, and me and two buddies came up with this crazy idea that we're going to drive to Florida and we're going to go to the beach and we're going to go to Disney World. And somehow our parents let us.
That's amazing.
I don't know. And so yeah, we found ourselves in Disney World and went to Epcot, and it was an amazing, incredible, fun experience. And the parks were different back then. There was no Animal Kingdom. Um,
I think was that around the time where you could still like swim in the lake near the Polynesian Hotel? I saw a book where like people were like you're not allowed to anymore because of gators and stuff. But I saw this older book where like people were like in there like it was the beach, and I was like,
yeah,
"Yo, the river bacteria, like what?
I
Who
don't remember that.
knows?"
I don't remember that. And it was just two parks. It was Magic Kingdom.
Magic Kingdom, yeah,
Hollywood's Yeah,
definitely.
Hollywood Studios hadn't opened yet, and neither is Animal Kingdom. So it was easier to focus. You had two parks.
Yeah, just like it was simple. It
Yeah,
was simple
it's
times.
just so simple. It was so simple. It was a good time.
Well, I really enjoyed talking with you today, Joel. If anyone wants to connect with you, what's the best way they can do that?
My website, just my name.com, JoelZeff.com. That's the best way to connect, and all the links are from there. But if you'd like to connect via LinkedIn, there's 3 Joel Zeffs on LinkedIn. There's me, there's Brazilian Joel Zeff. It's in Portuguese, so that's not me. And then there's Rabbi Joel Zeff. And so it's just the 3 of us. It's pretty easy to find me. It's not like, some
Okay,
names you
that's
put on
good.
some names you put on LinkedIn, you're like, oh my God, Will Smith.
Yeah,
You can't
yeah,
find
it could
Will
be
Smith.
anybody.
There's 3
John
million Will
Williams,
Smiths, you know?
literally.
Yeah.
And then there's the Will Smith,
Then there's
that could
the
be
Will Smith.
confusing.
Yeah. I
How
don't
do
know
you
if
brand yourself if your name is Will Smith and you're not the Will Smith? That would really suck.
I don't know. I don't know. But there's 3 Joel Zeffs on
And
on
you're
social
one.
media that I've
Right,
on
right.
Facebook too. There's 3 of us. And so there's in the whole world. So
Amazing.
pretty easy to figure out
Well,
who I am.
I'm s I'm so happy that we won't get confused between the Portuguese and the rabbi, and we'll
Brazilian.
find you on LinkedIn.
Brazilian. Yeah.
The Brazilian. My bad.
Yeah.
Brazilian. We'll be very specific. Okay.
Someday we all need to
Alright,
get
well, that
together.
run maybe that would be hilarious, actually.
If we can make it.
It's like that Spider-Man meme where everyone's pointing to say, like, which Spider-Man
Yeah.
is what
Yeah.
Spider-Man or
That would be
whatever.
an incredible movie.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Joel. And we're gonna, you know how we're gonna wrap this episode up?
Um,
We have to say your special word at the end.
Supercalifragilistic. I thought it was
Ta-da! Ta-da!
supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I thought that I was going
I
Disney.
mean,
Oh, Mary Poppins.
we
I
went
wanna hang out
Disney.
with Mary Poppins.
Yes.
I wanna change my
Yeah. Okay.
I'd like to change my answer, Your Honor. I would like to,
Okay.
hang out with
Granted.
Mary Poppins.
And then
Also,
her
and
word
I'd
is
like to
superpower.
marry Mary Poppins. Julie
With
Andrews.
everyone,
Yeah,
we'd love to. Everyone would love to marry her. I would love to marry
yeah,
her.
yeah. I'd
Anyone
like to
would.
change my answer to Mary Poppins.
All right. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Bippity Boppity Business. We're all set for today. Make sure you guys check it out in the comments below. And Joel, let's wrap it up.
Ta-da!
You've been listening to Bippity Boppity Business. Like what you hear so far? Leave us a review in Apple or listen to us anywhere you prefer listening to your podcast. Until next time, have a magical day.